When we talk about reaching the heights of American and Canadian and Major League Soccer, it starts here. The end product is the World Cup. The end product is MLS Cups, but it begins here. Man, oh man, does this kid live up to the hype. A second cross floated in Serrano! Seattle Sounders with the goal! These 15-year-olds, these 16 and 17-year-olds who go through tournaments like this, the adversity they face. Because every single one of these players has the ability to play for your first team. Remember this when your first team lifts MLS Cups in the future.
It is quarterfinal time, the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup from Frisco, Texas. The U15s continue to roll through the bracket as these two teams face off. The New York Red Bulls and the Portland Timbers for a shot at LAFC in the semifinals. Welcome, everybody. I'm David Goss. Alongside me, former professional Michael Lahoud. And Michael, we've been here for a little while. These teams starting to settle in, but this is must-win territory, and the pressure's really on.
And this is where the tension goes up, and the pace of the games really pick up. It's going to be a really good game today.
And a special one here as we take a look at the bracket. These two teams facing off for the first time at this tournament, but they know each other pretty well, playing just a month ago.
And it was a tension-filled game between these two playing in California leading into this tournament, a game which New York Red Bull went down a man and still found a way to win against this Portland Timbers team.
And you see that opportunity at LAFC, who knocked off TFC just moments ago here at Field 4. Let's take a look at our starting lineups for these two teams, the Portland Timbers and the New York Red Bulls at the U15 level. We start with the Timbers, Keenan Van Pelt. They've rotated in goal, but they feel like Van Pelt really coming into his own. And Andrew Brommer, one of their stars in central midfield, who will cover all the ground for them. On the flip side, for this New York Red Bull starting team, some big names. The biggest one maybe, Jeremiah White, the left back.
And he's such a creative force. He might be playing left back, but this guy can ball. Look for him to get forward almost like a left wing back.
We've seen him start at right back, at center mid, all over the field. What a treat for this team. Davio Lechandre, the center back as well, one of the keys to this side. And Pipolor Ale Rawaju, the starting center forward, the leading scorer in league play for the New York Red Bulls. The New York Red Bulls, their black kits with the red numbers going right to left on your screens. The Portland Timbers, and they're all white kits with the green trim, going left to right on this one as we get started here in the quarterfinals. The second of 4 games we'll have for you here from Toyota Soccer Center today. David Goss, Michael Lahoud, and Kelly Glendenning with you for this one. She'll be down on the sidelines chatting with these coaching staffs, bringing us all that information. And Michael, these teams, 5 games in 6 days. Yesterday was their first off day as a player. How do you manage thinking about this game for so long and then coming in and playing at your best?
We've seen in so many of these games, it's how you start, and you have to bring the energy and the aggression. Talking with both coaches, energy and aggression were 2 words that they mentioned, and the team that's more aggressive and the team that's willing to work and do the dirty work will win this game.
The Red Bulls charging forward, trying to get off to a hot start. Michael Lahoud, you talked about that starting. Kelly Glendenning talked to the Portland Timbers coaching staff about that as well. Kelly, down to you.
Head coach Fernando Pessoa before the game, and he said 2 things he wants to see from his group early. First, control their emotion. It's a game with high stakes, and he wants a strong mental showing. And number 2, discipline not just in the game, but with their teammates. He wants to see them work together as a unit and let the game flow creatively.
Thanks so much to Kelly, and she'll be down there all game, getting us all that information. We are on the MLS YouTube page as well as on Twitch, and we'll be in the Twitch chat all game. A lot of Red Bull fans in there early. We've got some early calls. How do you feel about this prediction? 8-0 Red Bulls? Does that feel like an exaggeration?
Well, within 60 minutes of play, that would be truly remarkable. We'll see. Hey, this would make SportsCenter if that happened.
As Michael said, 30-minute halves for a 60-minute game. If we are tied, we will go straight to penalty kicks at that point for a chance to move on to the next round. You heard those comments from Fernando Pessoa, the head coach for the Portland Timbers. You chatted a bit with Simon Nee, the head coach for this New York Red Bull group as well before the game.
And he talked about the start that they had and really the progression that they've had since that opening game loss to River Plate. And he said it was a shock to their system, and almost it was looking at the badge too much, and the bright lights got to the players a bit, which that's part of the developmental process for these young players. Remember, a lot of these players are younger than 15, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. So what they've done well is react, and they picked up their aggressive play and really worked themselves back into contention, and that's why they're here.
Yeah, they followed up that 2-0 loss to River Plate in the opening game here on our stream at Field 4 with a 1-0 win over Pumas, who had been one of the most impressive performers in day one. So that was a big win, and then followed that up with a 2-1 win over the Colorado Rapids to put them as one of the best second-place qualifiers out of the group stage. And that's one of these opportunities you have in a group stage is, you know, there's more games to make it up. There was more opportunity. Here it is win or you're done, and that puts a little bit of a different pressure on these young players.
The thing they have on their side is they're trending in the right trajectory. In group stage play, it's not how you start, but how you finish, and they're finishing in the right sort of form.
De Oliveira playing along that right back spot for the New York Red Bulls. Earns the throw-in for his team. 7 substitutes available for these coaching staffs as well. They can use them in 3 different moments, all of those only counting in the second half. 20 subs in the first half don't use a moment for these staffs. Academy directors, youth national team scouts, and coaches here as well. It will be a free kick now. Eric Izodia will take it for this Timbers side. The Timbers, meanwhile, in the group stage, located in Group G. They opened up with a 1-1 tie against Atlanta United, a 2-1 victory over FC Porto in the second game. One of maybe the surprise results in that group stage. And then they hung on for a 2-2 draw against Philadelphia Union, winning that penalty kick shootout for the additional point, 4-2, which got them into the next round. So you mentioned that trend for the Timbers as well, trending upwards as they go through this competition.
And they've been doing it through teamwork and possession, letting the ball do the work. Certain teams, you have star players, and really you depend on individual moments of brilliance. This is a Portland team that really plays as a team and thrives as a team.
That one over the head of Olani Raju. Chance to chase over the top now. Lugton slips this one into the middle. The first shooting opportunity of the game. And Noah Santos puts it right on the hands of Aiden Stokes.
And talking to Coach Pessoa, he highlighted Noah Santos as one of the key players, a player who's really impressed him. And you see, he gets good contact on that shot. Unfortunately, right at the goalkeeper.
White immediately playing it quickly up the field to Olan Riwaju. It'll pop out. Jeremiah White, son of former U.S. international Jeremiah White.
And former Wake Forest alum, Jeremiah White.
I thought it was UVA. No, Wake Forest.
No. Those are swear words down in Winston-Salem.
But his dad, a long professional career after that, playing in Europe, playing in European competition as well, Denmark and in Norway, and then coming back and finishing with the Philadelphia Union. And this young man, we highlighted him at the Open because there's a lot of excitement at the Red Bull Academy around what he can be for this team. Portland Timbers regain possession. Zamudio, ball over the top. Chance in on goal. Stokes touches it and rolls into the net. And the Portland Timbers, the early lead. Grayson Carter clips it past the goalkeeper. And the Portland Timbers lead here in the quarterfinals.
We'd mentioned teamwork from this Portland Timbers team. You see the U17s in the corner celebrating with the group, and what an excellent ball over the top. Ways to beat a team that's compact and trying to close out the middle. Runs over the top and balls over the top. And Carter with an excellent first touch. So difficult to do. Cushions it in stride. And then gets the lob finish. Unfortunate from Stokes that he didn't get more of a hand on it, but got to give credit to Carter. Well done for the young man.
It was Izodia with the ball through the lines to set Carter up. A gorgeous goal. And as Their head coach Pessoa told us all our goals have come out of good teamwork, not individual moments. It's a through ball, and as you mentioned, the touch and the finish.
And it's the front three that are getting the goals. And that makes it more predictable for you.
Red Bull's now breaking into the box, trying to match it. White over this one, can't get all of it. It'll roll into safe hands of Van Pelt.
And the Red Bull trying to respond immediately, but as a front three, if your front three is scoring goals, it takes the pressure off your midfield to do more than just their job. The midfielders, you know that if you drop in pockets, pick your head up, you're going to have runners in behind, you're going to have an option, and Noah Santos is a big center forward, and that's just good team play from Portland.
Portland Timbers off to a dream start here. We mentioned how they've been growing in this tournament, and shout out to all of you in the Twitch chat enjoying this one so far. Yeah, both Portland and Red Bull fans and some neutrals who are enjoying soccer. We were told, based off the timing, it works out perfectly that as the Red Bulls fly forward here, chance to get on the ball for Julian Hall. And it's pushed away. We were told that first team for the Portland Timbers, their training's just ended. So they'll be throwing this game on the TVs in the training ground. They've been getting messages from the first team staff, T2 staff, as well as some of the first team players coming into this tournament and now. Words of encouragement, excitement for these young players.
And it really shows the strength of that link from the academy to T2 and then the first team. And head coach Gio Savarese is no stranger to youth soccer. What he did with the New York Red Bull, cannot forget that. Really the blueprint and DNA of the Red Bull is because of what he left behind, what he did with the New York Cosmos, and now he's doing it with Portland Timbers.
This one bounces in the box and cleared up into the sky. So this New York Red Bull team now chasing from behind. I mentioned the Red Bulls here against River Plate struggled after giving up an early goal against the run of play. Never really got back into it. White now slipping between two defenders. Olan Riwaju charging into the box, and it's a tackle by Max Schinke.
And keep an eye on how many Portland Timber players run across the field, knowing and anticipating the skill of White. We'd mentioned him in the open. White's such a skilled left back, can almost function as a left wing back or a left winger. But credit to Portland recognizing the danger and getting numbers to crowd out the middle.
So first corner kick of the game coming here for the Red Bulls. Served in by Boulanger. It bounces at the far post. And Alexandre, the center back, chasing it out wide. Alessandre puts it off the defender right in front of his U17 teammates, and he earns another corner for his side.
Alessandre, the big Brazilian, highly touted young man in this Red Bull team. A lot of staff members excited about the future and the prospects that he has moving forward.
Ryjack drops that one back. And now Stokes was able to start this attack. And Portland Timbers are going to keep things clean. Like what we saw yesterday in the LA Galaxy Manchester United game. That first 5 minutes, we talk about it in theory, but we've seen it play out on the field. Who reacts better to goals? The teams that scored or the team that gave up the goal?
We've seen throughout this tournament, there's been the team that gave up the goal, immediate reactions, and you got to give those teams credit. LA Galaxy, they went down a goal, well taken set piece from the Manchester United left winger, and then they put Manchester United on their heels. If you're the New York Red Bull, after you give up a goal, 5 minutes after giving up a goal is the best time to score, because that could change the momentum and then put Portland back on their heels.
And the Red Bulls have come out pushing here. After that, it was a gorgeous goal finished by Grayson Carter off the pass from Eric Izodia.
Guys, tempo now.
The Timbers now will hold things a little. The game really plays into their fortunes. So now they can sit and counter if they want to. Willinger knocking it around. White, he's been pushed in the attack so far for New York. Alessandre, the captain, on the ball. Long drive to Luvini. His layoff can't find Riwanju. Another big clearance from Shimke. On the ball once again. Beautifully done from the center back as he just pops by the defender and lays it off. Now the Timbers will go in transition. Michael, you played against some high pressing teams. We talk about it in theory. On the field, how do you handle when you have a Red Bull or Philadelphia Union press coming at you?
You have to have composure and want the ball in tough spaces and really let the ball do the work. And I remember some of the better games that I had against those two teams. It was games that I anticipated that the press was coming and really scanning the field, scanning where the press is coming from. Always be on high alert, because if you lose the ball in the middle of the park as a center midfielder or in the back line, it's an outside back or center back, these are the type of teams that will punish you and then just keep doing it for 90 minutes.
Both a team with as distilled an identity maybe as any in the academy system. The layoff there from Santos. Carter, the opening goal in this one. But it's been that young man, Noah Santos, all tournament for this Portland Timbers side. 3 goals in the 3 group stage games.
What makes him so effective is look at his positioning. He sits between the 2 center backs. You rarely will find him in either channels. He wants to be the target player, and his movement in the final third is very clever.
That one pushed up to White as D'Souza knocked down. The challenge in the box. Bodies flying left and right. And the Portland Timbers, some heroic defending.
And on this left-hand side, White, because of his attacking prowess, you'll see the left midfielder Luvini tuck in more as a center midfielder and not as an out and out left midfielder, which will create more of a running lane for White to run in and use that creativity, step overs, going to his left, going to his right.
Corner kick coming for the Red Bulls. Can they make this count? It's Boulanger once again to take this one. Floated in. Touched on by Van Pelt. It's job done there for the goalkeeper. Ball played in on the ground and hoofed out of there by Shimke.
This is good goalkeeping from Van Pelt. If you're going to come and collect or punch it, you got to get it away from where all the opponent's players are. Good work from the young man.
So we are at the midway point of this first half. Our second quarterfinal broadcast of the day. LAFC, a goal in the 60th minute to knock off TFC in our opening game. These two teams facing off for the opportunity to move on to the semifinals against that LAFC side.
How many times we've seen that, though, the character that these teams have in this tournament, time and time again. From the 55th minute to the 60th minute, the game is not over, and these teams are proving that with some of the late goals and the heroics.
We saw the Portland Timbers. It was a 59th minute equalizer for them in the first 2 games to get their results. That young man, Noah Santos. And as you said, 60-minute games, so a little bit different for these players to adjust to. They normally play 80 minutes, I think, in league play at the U15 level. But these teams that have had that belief that the opportunity is still there. Yesterday we did a game, 2-0 lead for the Houston Dynamo. Tigres came back and won 3-2.
It's really managing the big moments. And in that last 5 minutes, you really look at the body language from teams. Do you just pump the brakes and start sitting back, or are you still the aggressors? And the teams that have gotten it wrong with the leads, they completely went conservative after being aggressive and getting the leads in the first half. You can't change completely how you play. You have to continue what works and not steer too far away from the DNA of your team.
This Portland team had to hang on at times late on. In the last game, it was an early 2-0 lead against Manchester United's U15s. They were able to make it to the end of that one up 2-1. There's a foul there. The goal scorer Carter getting called for it. The one time we've seen Carter come across the field was that goal, and makes that run so dangerous. You've talked about it all week, making runs in unexpected moments out of midfield, but that time a winger coming across the field.
And what makes that run so clever is because he runs off the movement of Santos, waiting for Santos to come short. Santos brings 2 defenders with him, and then Carter spots the gap and bursts through the middle of the field, and he's in one-on-one with the goalkeeper. But excellent first touch sets him up to lob the goalkeeper.
Battle 1v1 between the 2 fullbacks. Lugton not able to get away in the end. Now the foul will go against Zamudio.
This midfield 3 for the Timbers. They're tough tackling. Zamudio so aggressive out of midfield to put pressure and close down.
Beautiful ball from Jeremiah White across the field, but just a little too long for Timothy Logan making the run.
At some point, I wonder when a player like Jeremiah White, if his skill set would be better served as a number 10 position, because he can play the final pass, he can do it all.
And he was tripped up there. Callum Lugton looks at the referee. He started the first game at center mid. Then he got moved throughout the game to right back. And I think that your question is the same question that head coach Simon and his staff is asking, which is, how do we utilize such a great player? And at 15, I don't think the answer should be there, right?
Well, it's a versatility. That's one of his biggest strengths. And a good player will adapt to anywhere you put them on the field. Certainly, you rarely would see a striker play center back. But a player as young as he and a player with his skill sets, being able to think his way through games, that's why he can play at left back, because he can do the work defensively. But his biggest strength is getting the ball at his feet and driving this team forward.
Do you have an age where you think for a player to become that expertise, they should be locked into position?
Never.
Okay. That's a great answer.
You can always learn, unless you're a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
There's certain key positions that you wouldn't like to see it flipped on its head, but you're only as good as your willingness to play the positions that your team needs.
And we have seen that, I think, even more over the last few years of just high-level players that, I mean, Pep will sign a $90 million winger and put him at fullback or center back if he wants to. Boulanger stepping in there. Hard tackle from him. You can hear that one up here in the booth.
Well, look at the development, speaking of a Pep Guardiola, of a Phil Foden, and his ability to play. Can he play left wing when you need him? Can you play as a false 9, a position that he'd never played before? Typically, he'd played as an attacking center midfielder with the English youth national teams and through the Manchester City Academy.
The Red Bulls facing off against Portland Timbers. We are here at the quarterfinal stage, about a week into this tournament. One of the fun things that we always get to see is how unique all these clubs are. For a little more on that, let's go down to the sideline to Kelly Glendenning.
Guys, I'm by the Portland bench, and this is a first for me. An entire jar of pickles is sitting right there on the bench. I've seen bananas, but never pickles before, but you got to get those electrolytes, replenish that sodium, so it's good for preventing cramps.
That is a great report there from Kelly Glendenning. I've seen one other club use pickles, but we have seen the full range. We've seen Welch's fruit snacks. We have seen bananas, as she said. I think Celtic, they made a special shake for the players. You're seeing it all out here.
Hey, you got to bring a little slice of home and the things that'll help you win and feel comfortable here in these elements.
I believe they do love a good fermented food in the Portland area. As this cross poked away at the last second from White. Luvini now in some open space. Finds Ulanri Waju's feet.
We've seen that from Ulanri Raju, starting off centrally and being that focal point for this Red Bull attack. But what he needs to do there is he takes too many touches. With his size and with his technical ability, I'd like to see in 2 touches, draw defenders into him and then hit the running midfielder, which is Luvini, forward. If he hits Luvini, it's a 1v1 with the Portland center back.
Carter trying to ride the shoulder there of Alessandre, and the flag goes up for offside. What was your pregame food rituals?
Ooh, man, well, some of my old coaches probably wouldn't have liked this, but I always had candy.
Yeah?
Yeah, always had sour punch straws.
Oof,
from high school,
one.
That was my pregame ritual, and just, such a sweet tooth.
Listen, Not as bad as Charles Barkley and his 5 fast food sandwiches or whatever it was. And it came out that he ate. But you got to have your routines, right? You got to be comfortable in all settings.
No, the fast food stuff got cut and nipped in the bud when I got to college. My college coach, Dave Vinovich, he pulled me aside and he said, hey, if you want to join the frat, keep eating fat foods. If you want to be a professional soccer player, watch your diet.
At what age as you mentioned that, do the teams start, monitoring exactly what you're eating? Was that ever part of your process, or is that something that's come on later?
It came on later because at the academy system, we didn't have academies that played. You didn't have the resources. You didn't have the education, really. It was just, hey, if you're good enough, you'll find a way. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, who cares?
You weren't wearing tracking chips.
No. Yeah, tracking chips were a figment of all our imaginations at that time.
And now they are very much the reality.
But it changed my body build, it changed my focus, and it changed my habits. In 2011, when I was at Chivas USA, mighty Chivas USA, so good, not here anymore. But I remember I had our strength coach, Jim Liston, who pulled me aside and really just talked to me about habits, and it started with diet. And everything came from there. Diet and sleep, the 2 most important things that every soccer player who has aspirations to make it to the top level needs to prioritize.
And that's what these players learn at such a young age. Not just to be like pros, but so it's not a shock when they get to the pros. It's a slow, gradual development for them, understanding how to treat their body day in, day out, what a professional environment will look like, so they're not 23 and all of a sudden thrown into that first environment.
And also, you need players you can look up to. Because of that link being strengthened from the first team to T2 and now the 17s and the 15s, those guys, when they come back down or come back to the academy team, they're going to be more professional, and then these guys are going to pick up those habits as well.
Luvini and Boulanger over this one. It'll be Boulanger. He clips it in and taken by the hands of Van Pelt. On the flip side for the Red Bulls, maybe no club has been as successful across MLS in promoting players from the academy up through the first team. Of course, Tyler Adams coming through the New York Red Bull Academy. Now we see John Tolkien and Omir Fernandez, starters at the MLS level. They've seen that link, and they've been able to challenge these young players.
And what a pipeline of talent that they have with those players. But in the tri-state area, come on, Jersey, New York City itself, Connecticut, if you will, just so look at the number of people, the millions of people. Having more numbers oftentimes means you have the possibility of finding a diamond in the rough or just an absolute talent.
Or in, I think, Wappingers Falls. That's where Tyler Adams' hometown is. So it could be a diamond in the rough or a diamond in the Wappingers Falls. Whichever one works out best. New York Red Bulls continuing to promote young players, signing Bento Estrella, one of the youngest players in MLS homegrown history. Serge Goma making his debut as the youngest player in MLS history for the New York Red Bulls, as there's a foul deep in the corner. And get this blows my mind. Serge Goma made his debut against San Jose. He was, to the day, the exact same age as Eddie Gavin, who had held the record. What are the odds of that? To the day? That's just so weird to me. I'm sorry, and for some reason, that one stuck in my head.
Well, Eddie Gavin, he's from the New York area on the Jersey side.
Yeah.
Something in the water there.
Imagine.
Teenage kids, yeah. I grew up playing with Eddie Gavin. At the time, it was ODP, Olympic Development Team, and just naturally gifted and just slender build, but the tireless work ethic and have that spark in the final third where he can make something happen in a moment's notice.
What only could have been if they kept him and Mike McGee together for a number of years for the New York Red Bulls. I'm sure Red Bull fans are asking that more than I am.
Oh, well, they had those two. They had Michael Bradley as well.
Sure, and Ricardo Clark. Yeah, you make a great point. We digress. We will continue on. We don't want to make any Red Bull fans sad out there for no reason, because they've got great young players coming through right now, trying to bang down the door. Right now, Grayson Carter's 7th minute goal off the assist from Izotia is the difference. Fantastic goal. The Red Bulls have been able to keep Noah Santos off the scoreboard. He's got 4 goals already in this tournament. Something to watch out for. Max Eisenberg on the bench for Portland Timbers has scored in the last 2 games for the Timbers. So they've got more firepower that can bring into this game if it calls for it.
And that might be a talking point later in the game. If it's still 1-0 and you're the Red Bulls and you're pushing numbers forward, they're in a 4-1-3-2 formation. but both outside backs will start getting forward the longer it stays 1-0, and that'll create gaps for attackers like Eisenberg to come off the bench and exploit.
Rulinger trying to find Julian Hall in the attack.
Come on, don't let him out, Gio. Come on, Brady.
Alu, Waju, and Mize in the opening game, but Julian Hall has taken over as the starting forward alongside Olan Waju. It's a player Coach Nee and the Red Bull staff very excited about. And Hall, as Portland chooses to go across that back line. White up to Beck. Beck throws down immediately. They're going to throw in for the Timbers.
And right on cue, Hall runs 40, 50 yards across the field as an attacker, as a striker, to go make that tackle. Part of the Red Bull DNA, press from the front.
We saw Bradley Wright Phillips hanging out watching games over the last 5 days. Part of is a really cool program for MLS, bringing recently retired players in to work as scouts, sort of IDing high potential players as they watch. And Bradley Wright Phillips took to that Red Bull system pretty well.
What a player he was, and what a person he is. Always a gentleman on the field, but stone cold killer in the box. He'd put a hat trick past you or 2 or 3 past you, and then shake your hand and ask if you wanted to go for, let's say, Gatorade afterward.
I've seen him talk to a few people where he's so nice. Oh, I've seen him walk up to players who we played against and said, oh, you're a great player. I really enjoyed playing against you. And then he'll walk away, and it's happened twice now. They said, he scored 2 against me. Yeah. And they don't know if he's just being modest.
He's scored more than 2 against me.
White now put under pressure. Good work from Lugton to get in there. Forces it out, and the Portland Timbers here off the lead. They've looked comfortable. Now an opportunity to hit once again late in this first half.
And the physical play of Lugton, it's got the better of White at different times. If you're playing against an attack-minded outside back, some of the best ways to quell that attacking momentum, be physical, be on the defensive, and win that physical battle.
So corner kick opportunity for the Timbers, their first of the game. Dying moments of this first half. Ball floated into the far post, headed on by Bullinger. Second ball won by Hall. And now the Red Bulls trying to break out. And the Timbers can't keep it in play. You can hear the Timbers U17s chanting behind that Red Bull goal.
That smart play from Zamudio. If you're a midfielder and you're going to start juggling or you're going to retain it and win that second ball, you don't want to lose it. And I thought it was very intelligent for him to just kick the ball out and let your team reset. Now, Red Bull have it thrown, but it's in their half, and right on cue, he wins the header.
Lovini pinching in field to try and get the ball back for New York. Logan's ball up the line. It'll be a little bit too strong for Hall. If you're this Red Bull staff, this team, what's the focus here at halftime? Coming off down 1-0.
I think really just to regroup, breathe, don't panic, because they will get their chances as this game goes, and really as the heat becomes a factor in this game, and really I think competing. I think Portland, they've matched them in terms of intensity and competition. That's something we see Red Bulls teams at their best. They outcompete you, and then the soccer takes over. For the Timbers, I think they've done well to identify that, and then competition first, and their coach said that to us, is we want to compete as a team against this very feisty and energetic team.
And Kelly mentioned in our open from Fernando Pessoa that focus on energy, on connection, and they started that way. The early goal, it was to plan, and now they've continued on in that vein. A moment of a minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time. Good footwork there from Carter. And knocked away by a defender, but Carter back on the ball. Special young player sitting on a goal, trying to create one more for his team. Battling in the box, De Oliveira comes away with it. And a foul will go in favor of New York as Mohamed Hassan blows his whistle.
Just the epitome of competing. Carter, an attacker. He doesn't give up on that play, surrounded by 3 Red Bulls defenders. And just when you think they're about to get out, he puts his body, he won't give up. That's the stuff the teams that make it to the next round are made of.
So White now flying forward. Plays that one play. Santos sneaking between the center backs. Noah Santos, the leading scorer, and his shot goes just over the crossbar. And the final kick of that first half, maybe the best look of the game for the leading goal scorer for the Portland Timbers. That young man, Noah Santos, unable to break through, but his teammate Grayson Carter did, and a gorgeous team goal to give the Timbers the halftime 1-0 lead. We're into the quarterfinals of the U15 level. A spot in the semis coming up tomorrow against LAFC. Will it be Portland or will it be New York? We'll be back with all your second half action coming up from the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup.
As players and coaches continue evolving towards a brighter future, the constant battle of reality versus expectation is one many involved in youth soccer constantly face. The reality being, developing a player to transcend and become a professional is a long road indeed.
A U12 player might not make our U13 team the following year. And so we made that very clear at the beginning, that this is the pyramid moves in this direction and it gets harder and harder to get to the top, and the grand minority earn a professional contract, and the grand minority play on the first team.
Luchi Gonzalez, the academy director at FC Dallas, knows all too well the struggles within an academy structure to develop players. But the key to success for Luchi and FC Dallas isn't only about the on-field product. It always transcends more than just that.
We don't see our first team at the top. We see FC Dallas family at the top. They're trying to develop to be an FC Dallas family member for the rest of their life. So they whether they play in our stadium or not, or whether they play in Europe, or whether they play in our senior national team, or whether they play college, or whether they're going to be a doctor, or whether they're going to be a teacher, or whether they're going to be a coach themselves, they're always going to be welcome to our stadium as a fan and as a family member. And so that idea starts at the bottom. So it's important that as a director, I communicate the realities of the pathway, but at the same time create measurable goals for each player and each family, and ask the questions of why are they in the program? Well, I want to be a professional player. Okay, why else?
The development is a long-term process. That for every individual player there is a plan, and different players mature at different times, and you just got to trust the process. With the club investing so much resources and so much time, energy in terms of each player, we truly have a belief that each one of them has a long-term chance.
They could get cut. They could get moved to a premier team. They could end up being on a national team. And then we got to balance that mentality and how to handle that responsibility of representing your country. They could be getting trainings with the pro team or not. They could be getting a college scholarship or not. They could be talking with agents or not. And then all those situations in the pathway, with each one being different in each age, we have to make sure that we're communicating very clearly with the parents. And as the player gets older, they're becoming more independent. So with the older age groups, it's really more clear communication with the player, because he's a young man at that point, and making sure that we set goals with them that they're responsible for, that the club is responsible for supporting, but that are measurable and that are realistic. And within that process, by the time they're 16, 17, 18, they see it. They see when maybe they're going to get offered a contract or not, or they're professional bound or college bound. But guess what? Our attitude is that anybody can make it at any moment, and it's never too late. We will never tell a kid, you're not going to make it. Because I've learned in this business, never say never with these kids. There's late developers, psychologically, physically, mentally, technically, tactically. So we want to be realistic with the kids, but we don't take away their dream either. But at some point, we do guide them in a direction that's going to favor them to have options and to stay in a pathway.
As the path forward becomes more and more clear for players, what does the future hold? Will North America soon be at the forefront in producing world-class caliber talent?
We are at the beginning of the story in the US. I would say, if I compare with other countries, our country is a baby country. So it will happen. I cannot tell you when, but more and more we will produce very good kids and high-level players. Why? Because right now, when you are 6 and 7 years old, you can play soccer pretty often.
These kids are growing up, and now their dream is to be part of that first team of FC Dallas, of the LA Galaxy. So the fact that they can now see that there's an opportunity, that our clubs are giving these kids that are coming through the academy to play in the first team, it's only going to open up the future more and more.
The game is at the middle of everything we do. The game is at the middle of our business in MLS. The game is in the middle of our development. It has to revolve around soccer. So I think that's where we as a country need to continue to strive to get better and educate ourselves and be curious to learn concepts from all over the world, and not generalize this game. This game has a lot of little details and is very thorough, and it's important that we answer for these players in training, that we answer the questions of why, how, when, where in our training environment, so that our kids can understand references and be prepared as they get older to be a high-level player and a world-class player.
I'm excited that I feel like the next generation of coaches, the ones that MLS is heavily investing in, it's a younger generation. I think we're all hungry for knowledge. We're here to get better. And when we get better, our players are going to get better, right? When we get these competitions, our players are going to get better. They are exciting times, in this country, and I feel the potential to catch up to the rest of the world powers is there. The sooner the better, right?
Quarterfinals of the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup U15 level. David Goss, Michael Lahoud here from Frisco, Texas, as we get kicked off for the second half of this match between the Red Bulls and the Portland Timbers. The Timbers leading 1-0. The goal from Grayson Carter in the 7th minute got us started. The Red Bulls now looking for a way back into this game. The Timbers happy with what they saw in the first half, happy with the way they've played. The Red Bulls now a lot of work to do here in this second half. For more on the New York Red Bulls and their halftime chat, let's go down to our sideline reporter in Kelly Glendenning.
Immediately when they started their halftime chat, it was actually the players who were saying that they needed more intensity and to press harder. Just a great example of how that Red Bull DNA is instilled in these players at such a young age. But head coach Simon Nee, it was a very simple message. He said we need more speed and intensity and push through and find another gear. He really laid it out simply and said, we're in the quarterfinals of the JA Cup. You don't get this moment back. Let's move the ball quickly to feet and set the tone physically of the game.
Thanks so much, Kelly. And for Red Bull, it is, right, less tactical and more the energy and the way you play.
And they look very leggy. I think they were second best to master challenge on Hall.
Foul there. Going against the Portland Timbers and Nolan Beck.
And they really were coming up second best on a lot of the physical challenges. Portland matching what typically you expect from this New York Red Bull team, which is they're going to be aggressive, they're going to bring the energy, and Portland out-competing them so far.
You mentioned that in the first half, Portland have matched their intensity, they've matched their level in this one. That yellow card was shown to Beck, our first yellow card of the game. A number of substitutions here at halftime for the New York Red Bulls. So we will help you sort of suss through them a little bit. Henry Telekowski coming on for the Red Bulls. Gavin DeHart coming on, as did Finn Moran. 3 versatile players. Jeremiah White swapping from left back to right back, it looks like, as well.
And they're playing a 4-3-3, switching from that 4-1-3-2. They want to match Portland Timbers in the middle of the park. I think they were overrun in the middle of the park. 2v1, sometimes 3v1.
A chance here off the turnover. Santos leading the way, looking for an opening. He's surrounded by black jerseys. He finally able to find the opening. And that cross blocked away. Again, though, the Timbers into the attack. Carlson in possession. Beautiful footwork here. Pulled back. Opportunity coming. And it's just wide. It was Zamudio coming off the run. And the layoff from Lugton. What a play for the Timbers.
Just individual brilliance from Lugton, slaloming through players. Oh, and he's going to want that one back. I think too much of a big windup. Goes for power instead of placing it. And he'll learn from that. He'll get that one right. But a golden moment, golden opportunity for Portland to extend their lead.
David Goss and Michael Lahoud here on MLS YouTube as well as on Twitch. Our partner Kelly Glendenning. To those of you in the chat, someone says they're waiting for the Valencia game. It's coming up next, 5 p.m. Eastern time against RSL. RSL have been perfect at this tournament so far. 3 group stage wins, and then knocking out one of the favorites in Austin FC as Carter in an offside position. And to the ones who say, what do these commentators normally work on? They're doing a great job. 1, thank you. And 2, Austin FC color analyst right here, and Michael Lahoud. You can hear him there as well as where else?
Oh, geez, anywhere at this point.
Anywhere. He is a man all over the place. As he said, you don't want to lock into one position, right? You can always get better. So he's all over the place. And myself, well, just here at Generation Adidas Cup, I just live here all year round.
You do so much. I said it yesterday, and for those of you who weren't able to hear,
don't be nice to me.
No. I'll save it. No, but David Goss, you're a GA Cup and just soccer broadcast enthusiast.
Yeah, anywhere you want to watch soccer, I will try and get my voice on there if I have one. after this week, but it is the best week of the year, and Lugton putting on a show for us here on the broadcast so far in this one. Moran trying to work it out of the back, and he's able to earn a goal kick for his team. Am I glad I popped in a little bit to the Portland Timbers halftime talk, and it's what you'd expect. They liked the intensity. They loved everything defensive. The whole focus was possession. Can they build out a little bit more, trying to control the game in the middle a little bit more? They felt like they were dangerous with their balls over the top. Could they play into that midfield that little bit more in smart moments? And so I think for what we've both seen, right, they noticed everything good that happened in that first half, just trying to add to it and make it a little bit more dangerous.
And also adding to the goal tally. You don't want to keep this game,
and Santos will be the one trying to do that.
You don't want to keep this game 1-0 and allow this Red Bulls team to come back in it, since they've made the shift to a 4-3-3. A player that they're really counting on is Jeremiah White back to his natural position at right back. And that could be a real talking point as we see him gain more confidence in the game. But you get a second goal, it takes the air out of New York's confidence.
That ball going left to right for this Red Bull team. Finn Moran with the layoff. Tolakowski with the pull the strings in the midfield. A ball won back by Hall. Hall now coming forward. Cuts past the first defender. Lays it off. And it's cleared away. A must-make tackle there from Shimke.
And in the first half, we saw Julian Hall playing as a striker, running all the way across the field and making a tackle. Those are the hustle plays that get your team back into the game. And as soon as he now transitions towards the box and slaloms towards the defenders, 5 Red Bulls players running in the box, something we didn't see in the first half. Not enough numbers in the box for them.
So it looks like for this Red Bull team, Gil D'Souza, who started the game in central midfield, has dropped back to center back alongside Alessandre. As Bryjack, one of those halftime substitutes, coming out. We've got Finn Moran playing over on that left wing. Luvini dropping back to play that left back spot for him. And Telekowski coming in. Oh, excuse me, DeHart playing left back. And Telekowski coming in. Basically, everything has moved for the Red Bulls.
Full reshuffle, and rightfully so. It wasn't working to what they would have liked in the first half, and really that's why you have a manager. You have to be flexible as a manager, especially in this U15 age group. You can come in with a game plan. If it's not working, you shift tactics, you shift personnel.
So the first sub of the game coming on for the Portland Timbers, it'll be Jesus Garcia coming on. And then 2 more subs getting ready for the Red Bulls. As this free kick's played in a dangerous area for the Timbers. The shot blocked away.
It's Noah Santos again. Hasn't been able to find that goal, but he's knocking at the door. And that ball gets stuck under his feet on this hard ground, on this dry grass. If he can shift that out a little bit more, I think he's got the far post is what he was picking out.
Corner kick coming. And the Timbers continue to be dangerous. Red Bulls preparing 2 more substitutes. Reminder, 5th game in 6 days for these young players. Ball floated to the top of the 6, headed away by White. And now the Red Bulls looking to break in transition. Closed off expertly. Zamudio on the ball for the Timbers.
He's been good in this game, making tackles, stopping transitions, and really dominating second ball plays. Something that you see from the Timbers first team as well with the one Diego Chara. He knows a thing or two about stopping opponents and dominating and winning second balls.
I love that play, though, from Bromert, who wasn't on the ball and just put his body into a Red Bull player to make it easier for Zamudio to pick up that loose ball. So we see Jesus Garcia, who came on playing that left back for the Timbers in place of Noah Beck, who, reminder, is sitting on a yellow card. And for the Red Bulls, People Olan Riwaju's off. Jalen Lester coming on along that front line for him. And then another center back coming in for New York and Max Mowbray.
And with Olan Riwaju coming off, look for
Everyone said that's an exaggeration. And then Augsburg said, you want $20 million? Because I'd take it. A little trip from behind there, an awkward play. And Mohammed Hussein, our head official, right on top of that one. Fortunate maybe. As I mentioned, 2 goals this tournament in the last 2 games, including what stood as the winner in the end against Manchester United in the round of 16.
An adjustment that the Red Bulls have made and the Timbers have made. Look how high Jeremiah White is, almost playing as a winger.
And he launches here on this long ball. White into the box, surrounded by Timbers players, and the clearance well defended by Eli White.
In response to White being pushing up high as a winger, Lupton has moved to this side.
Dribble here. The Red Bulls trying to break through in the box. Finn Moran, and it's just wide.
That was the chance for the New York Red Bulls. They've been waiting for. They've been pinned back for so much of the second half, and at times in the first half. And Finn Moran will want that one back. Intricate passing at the top of the box. The first time we've really seen that. Logan with the clever feet. An unselfish play here from Hall, I believe that was. And Moran, he'll want that. You need to put that on target. But I like the idea from him to try and aim for that far post. When the goalkeeper's coming out, the far post is wide open and just doesn't get clean contact. Steer that in.
Well, the Red Bulls, they've been waiting to ramp up the energy in this game and get that opportunity. And you could feel the bench willing them on there as everyone's up trying to push for that goal.
Well, it's a game of fine margins. You get that opportunity, it doesn't go in, but now you get your bench going, you get your U17s over there behind the goal going, and you get a spark of energy into this team that they badly needed.
And for those of you in the chat, chatting a little Seattle Sounders, we will have the Sounders U17 game against Monterrey coming up tomorrow as the Timbers looking for that second goal. That'll be our opening broadcast, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And it'll be one of the best games. The Sounders knocking out the Philadelphia Union, one of the pre-tournament favorites. Reed Baker Whiting already playing in MLS with a free kick goal in that one to put the Sounders ahead. There's a huge collision in the corner. Monterrey, one of the best teams in this tournament as well.
And that was Hall. Again, another hustle play for him. He looks like he took a bit of a knock. Limping out of that one. That's the first time we've seen a Red Bulls player get physical with this Portland team.
Which is what you thought the plan was going to be from the start. Timbers able to work out of pressure well. Garcia, he had the run there of Lugton over the top. Garcia, one of 2 substitutes that have come on so far for the Timbers. Red Bulls have made wholesale changes here in this game. Try and change the pace of the play. Mowbray, one of those substitutes at center back, stepping forward. A battle down the line. Will be a Red Bull throw in. Zodia, he had the assist to Lugton. To Carter in the first half as Lugton comes in field. He's a special 1v1 player.
I love how direct he is. He puts his head down. He puts his head down and he's going straight to goal every time. The slalom run where he beats 3 or 4 New York Red Bulls defenders, and then the unselfish play to cut it back to Santos, but Santos doesn't have the composure. On that play, I thought he went for power when he should have went for placement though, because that far post was open.
And Eli White steps forward and clears that one away. This Timbers back line has been impressive the way they've dealt with some of the pressure, but they've really stayed organized.
There's a bit of composure about them too. There's organization, and when there's an intense moment, you hear it from the back, from the goalkeeper, you hear it from the 2 center backs. Very organized back line. I've been impressed with them.
The Timbers looking to get in to the back on transition. cut back here, a tackle in the box, and it's cleared away. The Timbers, they know they're going to have that opportunity. Can they push it to a 2-goal lead? The Red Bulls forced to attack with numbers. And Stokes takes the ball in.
And when it's a big game like this, you need your defenders to win the battle in both boxes. New York didn't do that in the first half on the goal, but they do that there. Excellent defending, well-timed tackle.
Timbers extending their pressure a little bit against the Red Bulls. They win it back high up the field. Fantastic running from Santos and Zodia, and Lugton able to pick up that ball.
Another Timbers attacker winning 1v1 duels, and it starts with defending from the front.
Substitute coming here for the Red Bulls, so Julian Hall's day is done. Yeah, Kobu Bamba is the one to come on. Looks like it'll be a like-for-like change. So Bamba going in up top. Julian Hall, Michael, one of the players who you really enjoyed watching here today.
I loved his work ethic. When it doesn't go well for you and it hasn't gone well for your team overall in terms of the soccer, it doesn't mean you stop working. And through his extra running and defensive play and hustle play, he's changed the momentum and made this a battle again for the New York Red Bulls.
Zodia puts this cross in a dangerous area, and he doubles the lead. Who else? Noah Santos, his 5th of the tournament.
Zodia, the magic man today with the passing. And keep an eye on this left foot. Takes a look and floated ball, but the first touch in from Santos, that is first class. You kidding me with that finish? Just good weight on the delivery, but the first touch, aggressive across his body, then has the composure to slide it into the open goal.
5 games in 6 days. 5 goals in 5 games for Noah Santos. You cannot be any better.
This kid's built different. He seems like a young man on a mission, playing with some swagger, but he's bringing the intensity. He's been knocking at the door. Young strikers, if you miss your first couple shots, and mind you, he had missed an open goal that he should have put one in, but he has the confidence that's been started at this tournament, getting goals in, and goal scoring, that becomes an instinct after you started, as he started in this tournament.
The Portland Timbers, if you want to win in a tournament, you need that group, you need that belief, but you need a goal scorer to pop up in big moments. And for the Timbers, this has been a perfect performance. They've matched the Red Bulls' intensity. They scored the early goal. They stay structured defensively, and they've only grown here in the second half. And looking for more as they continue to push forward. Chance to make it 3, and the foul will go against the Timbers.
And to add to that, they've managed to keep the 0.
Oh. And the truck giving heavy sauce alert here for this touch.
Oh,
little U15 sauce action.
Is that regular hot sauce or habanero?
I think there might be a few ghost peppers in there for that one. Pretty special play. We have seen some incredible performances over the course of this tournament. Portland Timbers look to potentially be on their way to the semifinal appearance against their West Coast rivals in LAFC.
It's going to be a very competitive, combative game. If the Timbers, if you can take that competitive spirit, you can take that team spirit that's gotten you to this point, then you like your chances going up against the skill of a team like an LAFC.
Hudson Tate coming on here for the Portland Timbers, and coming off the man of the hour, Eric Izodia. 2 assists, 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half, and he gets the cheer that he deserves.
And there are class balls in, similar technique, chipped balls, flighted balls. He gets the weight on it, and he does it with either foot. He's a left-footed player naturally, but he hit that first one with his right foot. Yeah. Just first-class stuff from him. Very impressed.
And we saw in the second half, the Timbers, they didn't want to sit as deep. He was the one that pushed the pressure. He was the one that played a little bit higher to help their team as there's a big collision there, and Van Pelt able to hang on to the ball.
And he found the spaces in the half spaces on their left-hand side. Clever attacking midfielders are not static. You see at the highest levels of Kevin De Bruyne and in Major League Soccer, Zella Rayan, Reynosos. These are top-class players in the league, and their movement is so hard to keep tabs of. Those are the type of players I hated playing against. The attacking midfielders that just stood static, yes, please, because that played to my strengths. The ones that moved constantly, it made you think. It dragged you out of position and creates gaps for teammates.
And now, for the Red Bulls, we have seen teams come back from more in less time in this tournament. Oh, it's still alive for them. And these young players continue to push as we approach the end of this 60-minute game here in the quarterfinals of the Generation Adidas Cup. This is the tournament these teams circle. You could hear both coaches saying to their staff, to their teams, you are in the quarterfinals of the GA Cup. This is where what we've worked for. That's how important this moment is for these young players, and so impressive that the Timbers have been able to step up with all the pressure they've built around it.
And it's about winning moments. And sometimes as a young player, you don't realize what an honor this is and what a big occasion this is. And sometimes it takes a coach, and that's good coaching, to just remind you, hey, we've done the work to get this far. Now let's honor the work we've put in.
Logan has it tapped away. White picks it back up. Jeremiah White trying to escape by a couple white jerseys. And it's cleared away. The Timbers, they've bent but not broken along that back line here in this one. The layoff. Moran back to Lester. Moran, he had the best look of the game. Try and equalize at 1-1. We have a question here from Twitch. Heart of Maple. Are any individual trophies handed out at the end of this tournament? Yes, I believe we will give golden boot, golden ball, as well as golden glove.
And those are just kind of the culmination of things that you work hard for, but there's no trophy bigger than the championship trophy. That's the one you want.
So yes, to be clear, there will be 4 trophies. The championship trophy and those other 3. But those are an opportunity to award players' performances over the course of this. Now, the biggest trophies, the biggest awards being given away are the ones that the CSOs that are here, the first team head coaches like Greg Danny and Nico Estevez that are here, the academy directors, they're the ones who are going to give those awards, which is players pushing their way up. And we've heard from multiple people say, if we can see the performance we think we can get here, he's ready for the next stage, whether that's from the 15th to the 17th, 17th to the second team, or even into an MLS atmosphere.
And what you're talking about is the award of an opportunity of a lifetime.
Breaking into the boxes, Garcia has been fantastic off the bench at left back for this Timbers side.
Look at the work rate of a Garcia. 1 minute he's in the box, gearing up to shoot, loses the ball, and sprints on a dead sprint to get back into position. That's part of the teamwork. That's part of the mentality that's made them successful in this game.
Remember, Hasley's going to pop up here and just take over for us for the next broadcast. Do a little bit of all of it. We have RSL Valencia coming up 5 p.m. Eastern time here on Twitch and on the MLS YouTube page. Our 3rd of 4 quarterfinals. The winner of that will move on to face off against the winner of Atlanta United and Tigres. And those are our final 2 games. LAFC 1-0 winners in the 60th minute in our opening game against TFC. And they are waiting for this one to come to a close to find out who their opponent will be for that semifinal. The semifinals coming up tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time and 8 p.m. Eastern time. Right here from Field 4 and on Twitch and on YouTube. As this tournament continues to roll on. We've been lucky to see some incredible performances across these fields over the last few days. Paola, who came off the bench late here to fill in at center back with that throw-in. And Lugton will leave it for Garcia. You really got to say, from the start, Grayson Carter, Noah Santos, and Callum Lugton, all three of them across that front line, they've been dangerous, but they've worked hard defensively. They've really played both ways.
And it's really also due to the credit of that back six. The two defensive midfielders and the entire back four, they work hard, they match the intensity of the Red Bull, and that puts the game on the mantle for this front three to go on and say, hey, you go on and win it, we'll do the hard work for you. And it takes the pressure off. But credit to them, the two wingers of Lugton and Carter. Oh man, their work rate off the ball. I've just been so impressed with that. Carter starts it with the run and just Izodia, the vision. This is a complete Portland team.
And this young man, Max Eisenberg, 2 goals coming off the bench. That's those types of game changers and weapons. Same what we've seen from Jesus Garcia at left back, that a team needs, that depth to manage all these games in a short amount of time and all the different challenges, because if the Timbers are able to hold on, LAFC is a totally different monster. You're talking high pressing, Red Bulls, everything going forward direct, and now you got to shift to an LAFC team that's going to play sideline to sideline constantly on the ball.
And how you stop a team like that, you get physical. You make it a physical game, and then the soccer takes over, and you impose your will on them. And I think that's what they did. They got physical first against this New York team, and then took advantage of their chances.
Yeah, it definitely feels like everything the Timbers did right in this game can apply to that next game. That physicality, that energy and intensity, and then the structure and the shape that they have defensively.
And really how they also play through the press. So kudos to them. They followed the game plan. They're rewarded with the win, and now they progress, rightfully so, to the next match against LAFC.
An almost perfect performance from the Portland Timbers. An open goal in the seventh minute. Grayson Carter finishing off the pass from Eric Izodia. And Izodia had a touch of class again in the second half to set up Noah Santos for his 5th goal of the tournament. And the Portland Timbers roll on to the semifinals of the 2022 Generation Adidas Cup to face off against LAFC. An unbelievable performance. The Timbers move on, and we'll have more coming to you here from Frisco, Texas.